Welcome to the Outlet Podcast. My name is Gazy, and today for the Comic Curator vlogs or series of vlogs, what I want to do is talk about how Star Wars raised the bar, which is why people don't like Dawn of Justice. Long sentence, probably not going to be the title of the episode either, but the content of the episode goes as such. Star Wars, I just saw it. I bought the DVD and Blu-ray and extra bonus features. It was a good deal. So instead of just going to the theater and watching it, probably would have been nice too. But man, I these days I just like enjoy my own TV at home, and it's a pretty sweet TV. So the quality that we're watching, it's well worth it. So I was watching and I'm like, man, Star Wars hit. There is nothing that I am mad at. There is nothing that upset me, nothing to rant on, no thing whatsoever. The internet was trying to bring up a case against Star Wars and saying, why didn't Leia hug, why didn't Leia hug Chewie? Why did she go and just hug Rey instead? When she felt the loss of her husband, or of Han Solo, her love. So you can create any argument you want. Star Wars knocked it right out of the park. Star Wars killed it. Star Wars did an amazing job. So there's no arguments to be had. So here's the thing: since they did so well early, you think the next film, Dawn of Justice, is going to really do something, right? Well, in some people's eyes, it didn't. In my eyes, it did. I really enjoyed Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. But while it is not fair to compare and contrast two different movies like Star Wars two different franchises like Star Wars and like the Justice League. While it's not fair, people do it anyways. And you would think that companies would be able to. Okay, I think Warner Brothers owns DC. Regardless of who owns, DC makes bank. DC makes bank. And also, Lucas is with Disney, and Disney is a freak beast. Disney is unbelievably rich. So, with money comes accessibility to technologies, and with accessibility to technologies comes great film capturing equipment. Also, you can get as many actors as you want, all the talent that you want on screen, off screen. So Disney has that. But Batman and Superman also had, whatever you want to say, Batman v Superman had great characters and great actors. What people don't like is what we can compare: the story. So here's the problem. With such a storied background that wasn't from anything else other than the movie, other than, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope? I think A New Hope. That came from the movies. Now, Star Wars has just been movies. I don't buy any Star Wars comics. I might buy some figures because they look pretty cool, but I'm not gonna buy anything else. I'm not gonna buy any. I don't buy into Star Wars Rebels because I'm not a kid. And if you're real fan of Star Wars, then okay, I can see why, because it's still, everything ties in. Clone Wars, I think Rebels is clearly for the kid. I don't see. Now I would make the debate that Clone Wars wasn't. It's still animation, but I don't think it was for directly children. They might market you subtly market for children, but your main audience is going to be grown adults. But I can't see, even though you have Ahsoka, I think her name is, I'm getting her name wrong. She's grown up in Star Wars Rebels, but still, guys, I don't buy into that. I don't believe it. So, it's such a storied cinematic franchise. Batman v Superman, you have Batman movies. You have Superman movies. movies. It's not fair. They've never fought before. They've never been on screen before together. And you're trying to do that. It's not a fair comparison in that regard. Also, what's not fair is for Batman v Superman fans to go on and say, Star Wars sucked. Well, it didn't suck. It has had bad movies. Star Wars has had bad movies. Personally, I don't think they were bad. They weren't. They just followed the franchise, and that's not bad. I don't think Kid Anakin on his pod racer, and Jar Jar Binks was unbelievably just so bad. But it was for the purpose. It was for the purpose of telling Darth Vader. And I know that if George Lucas or Disney wanted to go back, they can, but you can't go back now. So what was done is done. However, in the same vein, you got Bat Nipples, George Clooney, and then you got I love Brandon Routh Superman, but there were some Superman movies that could have sucked. That sucked. That really did suck. And Nicolas Cage as Superman, that almost happened. Tim Burton, look up Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage Superman, and feast your eyes on Nicolas Cage's glorious locks. Ugh, it's enough to make you wanna like squirm. Very, very cryptic. So these franchises have had bad stuff in their past, but what really killed Batman v Superman in comparison to Star Wars is that Star Wars was able to handle every single plot line in the film with consistency, and you just knew it, that you knew DC was purposely throwing around the next couple people in the Justice League. The Aquaman scene was horrible. The Aquaman scene was really embarrassing. I love Aquaman. And that was horrible. Really bad. So, apart from that, who else was bad? I mean, the Cyborg wasn't too bad. A lot of stuff just seemed forced. If you just would have made it Easter eggy, you should know that your fan base, the internet, would have blown up those things. They would have blown them up. So there was no need to like further go into it and further. You had Flash come in from the Speed Force, to tell Ben Affleck Batman to try to warn him of something. That's cool. You didn't have to show him in a bodega, buying something and saving this one guy. You didn't have to do that. Star Wars handled everything. Star Wars handled the cameos. Star Wars, they weren't even cameos. That's the thing. They were full-on roles. Having Han Solo, Chewbacca, Luke Skywalker just being there. Okay, it's been too long, so no spoiler warning. Luke Skywalker being there at the end with the look on his eyes, just looking at him. I was like, he is a hero. And you saw just a little bit of his Jedi garb, and you're just looking and you're like, man, there goes the hero that I grew up with. There goes that young rookie who faced his fears, who, fought against the dark side, who was able to bring back his dad to the good side of the Force. You saw all that. You saw his suffering. You saw it all in his eyes. Luke, and so you saw General Leia, you saw General Akbar. He didn't say it's a trap. Would have been funny, but they didn't want to go that cheesy, and that's the difference. There wasn't any need to set up anything. There wasn't any need to set up anything, or there was no pressure to set up anything. DC failed in this regard. They succumbed to the pressure. They put in the dark side thing when they didn't have to. Obviously, there was going to be obviously the only person who can handle the Justice League is Darkseid. So you did that. You kind of force fed us the symbols. We were force fed, even though we just saw the Force Awakened. We were force fed in DC, and that's what an argument that I made in my past videos. So I think that's the difference in between just and trusting the fan base. There's another one. The fan base knows. We know there's going to be more stuff. So why did DC need to do that? We knew there was going to be some more stuff. So I can go on. I can definitely go on, but I think I'll just leave it at that. What is your opinions about about the unfair comparison? The unfair but justifiable comparison. Let me know in the comments below. So, yeah, that's it. My name's Gazy. I'm the host of the Outlet Podcast. Find me in the description below. That triangle that's up, push it so it clicks down, scroll down. Find me on Facebook, on Twitter, my podcast on iTunes, Soundcloud, or Stitcher Radio, and Blubrry. That's pretty much it, guys. My name's Gazy. Connect and recharge.